When a player of a high caliber goes down from a brutal injury, many questions emerge. People begin to wonder if it's the beginning of the end or whether or not they'd be able to make the same impact they once had prior to the nasty incident. The player we'll be talking about in today's video was able to overcome, bounce back, and return to eventually play over 600 games in the NHL. He was a bright star on the come up with everything going for him, and almost had his career ended with a nasty hit which resulted in him almost losing an eye. Today we'll be talking about former Rookie of the Year Berard. Berard was a speedy defenseman from Rhode Island that would be a great addition to any team's blue line. In 1996, Berard would be selected first overall by the Ottawa Senators as the team was in desperate need of a defenseman sporting one of the worst blue lines in the league at the time. Berard was certain that he would be able to step right in and help make an immediate impact with the club. But after Ottawa would send him back down the juniors, Berard began to question whether staying in Ottawa would help his development, and then would request a trade addressing his concerns with management. In a three-team trade which featured the Leafs and Islanders, Berard would find himself landing in Long Island. In the following season, Berard would finally get to step foot on NHL ice, and he wouldn't disappoint. Berard would showcase his talents right away, taking the league by storm. Berard would tally 48 points in his rookie season and led all Isles defensemen in scoring, even finishing 9th overall in the league for defensemen. Berard's impact was so grand that he was awarded the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year, edging out names like Jerome Ugonna, and would even be named to the NHL's All-Rookie team. Things were looking up for Berard, and he was having tremendous success at the start of his career. Berard would once again post 40-plus points the following season before getting traded in a 1-for-1 swap to the Leafs at the deadline a season later. It was here that Berard would continue to perform at a steady pace, racking up 19 points in the team's last 30 games. The Leafs would make the postseason, but wouldn't make it as far as they prefer. Entering the 99-2000 season, Berard was on his usual pace and was looking for another potential 40-point season. That is, until one incident would take place in a game against his former team that would change Berard's life and potentially end his career.
Berard tried to clear the rebound. And a high stick caught Berard. Boy, he's down. This is going to be a problem as Brian Berard is badly cut on a high stick by Marian Hossa.
In a game against the Ottawa Senators, Berard would get clipped by the stick of Marian Hossa straight to the eye, causing a pool of blood to emerge out on the ice. Berard's eye would end up being slashed on an area of the eye called the sclera. He would also suffer from a retinal tear and a detached retina. Despite the injury, which could have potentially blinded Berard, he insisted on continuing to play once he was able to recover. He reportedly told his friends in the hospital that he would play again. His only problem, once his eye was able to be saved, he only had 2600 vision. The required vision to play in the NHL is a 2400 or better. He would end up getting special lens to use on ice and would begin practicing again in April of 2001. After missing an entire season, the Leafs stated they'd still be interested in having Berard on the roster, but he declined the offer and would sign with the rebuilding Rangers and would begin to bounce around the league soon after, signing with teams for one-year deals until reaching Chicago, where Berard would have a comeback season to remember. Berard would tally 47 points that season, one shy of his career high which he achieved in Long Island. That comeback season would pay off as Berard would win the Bill Masterton Trophy for his dedication to hockey. Even after suffering a brutal eye injury, he was able to come back and play for another almost 10 seasons. Afterwards, the lockout would occur and Berard would find himself bouncing around the league again and eventually in the KHL. The story of Brian Berard will unfortunately be stained, however. When you think of him, you don't think of the first overall pick or the Rookie of the Year. In 2006, it was revealed he was using performance enhancement steroids, which resulted in his 47-point season comeback. Berard would admit to his actions, and that's that. But there's always more to a feel-good story that some don't mention. Regardless of the incident, Berard's story can still show that no matter what happens, when life drags you down, there's two ways you can approach it. Either back down and quit, or rise up again and prove to everyone that there's more left in the tank. And in the end, I'd say it paid off. He'd return and become a steady, solid defenseman for any team who needed him. But just imagine what he could have been if it wasn't for that injury. Moments like Berard's can change people's lives, potentially forever, as all it takes is one swing, slash, or hook to alter someone's career for the better or for worse.
I think everyone plays sports, we know that's part of the game and it can happen at any time. So I'm just glad I got to play as long as I did, and especially after the eye injury to come back, play another 7 seasons. So I wouldn't take it back.